So Biden and Trump are, of course, trying to convince voters, but some voters matter more than others in this. That's because the president isn't simply whoever gets the most votes. Indeed, the U.S. uses a system called the Electoral College. Here's a little sense of how it works. Each state gets a number of electoral college votes based on population. Big states get more than smaller ones. The basic rule for most states is win the most votes in a state, get all of its electoral college votes. Add those up, the first to 270 wins. But here's the wrinkle. Most of those states are reliably Democratic or Republican. So the focus for Biden and Trump is the 5 or 6 states that could go either way. All right, so let's bring in Ellen Morrow to talk about those swing states and specifically how the debate was geared intentionally towards their swayable voters. Ellen, what is this poll? What does the polling show us about who these voters actually are and what they want?
Well, Adrienne, going into the debate tonight, and of course the debate itself could change some of these dynamics, but going into the debate, polling was suggesting that undecided voters in these key states, places like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, tended to be younger and were more likely to be Black or Hispanic voters. Just to get into that, we can show you a poll from the New York Times looking at these demographics. And it shows in this poll that for voters who are between 18 and 29 years old, and for Hispanic voters, there was virtually a tie between Donald Trump and Joe Biden within the margin of error. And then for Black voters, it shows Donald Trump having more support among Black voters than he did in 2020. So why does this matter? Those are key Biden voters. They're people who helped get him to the White House. And the fact that going into tonight's debate, even then they were hesitant to say they were going to vote for him, is a really tricky thing for the Biden campaign. He did try to appeal to those voters tonight by talking about the cost of living, which is so important to them. Here's a bit of what he had to say.
To be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems.
Now, given the headlines from the debate about Biden's performance, whether those policy messages resonate, we'll have to wait and see. The fact that there are voters who were soft on Biden going into the debate, voters who voted for him in the past, doesn't necessarily mean, according to these polls before, that they were all going to flock to Donald Trump. Some might, according to that New York Times poll. But what this really shows, Adrienne, is that there is this underlying reality of this election, which is that a large number of American voters don't want either of these men in the White House. We can show you another poll from Pew finding that 25% of Americans don't have a favorable view towards Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And another poll suggests that as many as 20% of voters going into tonight's debate either didn't know who they were going to vote for between these two men, were going to vote for a third-party candidate, or were just simply not planning on showing up at all in this election.
Okay, those are really interesting and big numbers. Beyond the demographics, what are the issues that could tip the balance with those cohorts?
Well, again, after the debate tonight, there'll be other conversations happening, but the cost of living and inflation is a big issue for swing state voters. We heard that message from Biden. Trump was trying to hammer Biden on the economy throughout the debate. Another big issue is immigration, and we heard Donald Trump try to capitalize on that. Here's some of what he had to say.
He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like, and we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country.
So that's that same kind of heated anti-immigrant rhetoric we heard from Donald Trump throughout his presidency, Adrienne. A key thing here is that voters trust Donald Trump on those two issues more than they do Joe Biden. So another tricky element for the Biden campaign. Other major issues for these undecided voters, along with inflation and immigration, are the state of democracy and abortion. Those are issues that Biden hopes will help him. But again, after the debate tonight, there are going to be other conversations. The issue issue of Biden's fitness for office is one that was already happening among swing state voters. That's not to say that Donald Trump gave a stellar performance. Swing state voters also have concerns about him. He elicits feelings of anger and worry, according to some of these polls as well. And it's really going to be these performances that these voters are going to be considering in the days ahead.
And we're still talking about an election months and months away. All right, Ella Morrow, thank you very much.